Hey, it's Ricky Gaines with G220 Ministries. Do you know what the definition of speculation is? Let me define it for you. The dictionary tells us that speculation is the forming of a theory or conjecture without firm evidence. So this is forming a theory, coming up with a hypothesis without firm evidence. Some synonyms for this word of speculation are conjecture, theorizing, hypothesizing, suppositions, guesswork. These are just guesstimations of a theory that is put forth without firm evidence. This is what speculation is, and this is what the so-called Hebrew Israelites do on a regular basis.
This book of Hebrews, chapter 7 and verse 14.
The Bible tells you straight up, verbatim, what Jesus Christ's race was. Right?
For it's evident.
It's evident. I mean, this is a fact. Right, Rick?
That our Lord.
That what?
That our Lord.
Our Lord Jesus Christ, Rick.
Sprang out of Judah.
He did what?
Sprang out of Judah.
Y'all see this sign right here? Y'all see where Judah at on the sign? What's next to Judah? American black.
Right.
If Jesus Christ was on the earth today, he would look like the rest of the American blacks.
Now, here is where the speculation comes into play. Because what they do, what cults do, what false teachers do is mix truth with lies. Yes, Jesus is descended from the tribe of Judah. He comes from this line. That's absolutely true. But the speculation here is that because Jesus comes from the line of Judah, according to their sign, which is a new sign, it's something that has been created by Hebrew Israelites, to say that Judah equals American blacks. That's speculation, because that can't be proven from the scripture. Now they're going to seek to try to justify it with scripture, and we'll see how that also falls flat.
His head and his hairs were white like wool.
Like what?
Like wool.
Like wool. Jesus Christ had woolly hair. Who got woolly hair today? Y'all got woolly hair. This brother, the Afro, he got woolly hair. We got woolly hair. This is woolly. Right? We got woolly hair. Woolly is like a sheep. You got like them tight curls, them tight knots. That's woolly. Jesus Christ had woolly hair. Read.
As white as snow.
So a couple areas here in which the so-called Hebrew Israelites fail. First, they fail because in the very first chapter of the book of Revelation, it talks about this being signified or signified, that these are signs that are given. And then you see this symbolism given in verses 14 and the next few verses, speaking about this imagery of Christ. Now, this is not a physical imagery. Again, this is symbolic to represent. And you see this hair that is like wool, like a wool of a pure sheep that is just born, is purified. Christ is purified. He is without spot. He is without blemish. And also we see in the Old Testament where it refers to hoary heads or gray hair or this white hair, this wisdom that is in this imagery. And so it's this purified Christ, this one who is without spot, without blemish, and also the wisdom of God. As it says in Scripture, that Christ is the power and wisdom of God. And so failing to recognize the symbolism here, they automatically put this as being an imagery of his actual physical appearance. Again, the problem with that is it says that his hair and his head was white like wool. So you would have to show the inconsistency here because they're saying the hair is white like wool, who has woolly hair, who has this kind of imagery. And then the head is also white like wool. So if his head is white and his hair is white and it's white like wool, then this kind of breaks down because what you then are seeing is this white-haired, white head, white face image. And that's not what they are trying to portray, as you will see in this next clip.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire.
Well, this man got woolly hair, or he got long, stringy hair. He got long. You ever played baseball? You know about baseball? Softball, 3 strikes and you what? Strike 1 on this man so far. He don't got woolly hair.
Right.
That's already strike 1 on him. Right? That's strike 1.
So what we have here is actually strike 3 for the so-called Hebrew Israelites. Number 1 being their failure to understand the symbolism that is wrapped up in this imagery of Christ from verses 14 and following in Revelation chapter 1. Next, they fail to show that when you see the hair that is white like wool, it also says the head is white like wool, but they diminish that. They disregard that aspect and only focus on the woolly texture of the hair. Again, failing first and foremost to understand the symbolism behind this, the imagery that's there in that symbolism, and then 2, to make that distinction or to separate that and just kind of disregard it without actually dealing with that. Because what you really have then in their understanding is this white woolly hair. They want to focus on the wool, but not the white head of Christ. So there's strike 2. Strike 3 is they're using an image that someone created a couple hundreds of years ago of this white Jesus and comparing it to this image of this black Jesus that they have on their sign today. Both of those images are violations of the second commandment. So you are breaking God's law in order to demonstrate your speculation that Judah is the American blacks. So your whole teaching falls flat and shows that this is really just speculation on your part.